When choosing tile for your new bathroom, it is actually very simple to make some costly mistakes that you will end up regretting. And it's not just all about design, about the tiles to choose, about the pattern to lay. There's so much more than just that. So if you guys don't want to make any mistakes when choosing tile for a new bathroom, definitely make sure to watch the video until the very end. Especially the last mistake to avoid is going to be the most important one and the one that you will especially want to avoid. Definitely make sure to stick around until the very end. So let's not waste any more time and let's talk about the top 7 mistakes to avoid when choosing tile for your new bathroom. Starting with the first mistake, this is actually a pretty big one and something that many people may not actually think of. This is actually choosing tile of the wrong size or not thinking ahead of which pattern to lay the tile. Now, luckily, this is something that we as contractors don't see actually very often with our clients. However, we did actually have an incident last summer where this wasn't actually the client's fault. However, they just really didn't know any better. So they ended up purchasing tile that just completely didn't look good on the wall. This tile actually had very unusual dimensions, which made it very difficult for us to find a pattern that would work really well and what the client would actually really like as well. So what ended up happening in this situation is that the client had to go and pack all the tiles back into the car and take it to the store to return them, and then go to a different store and look for similar tiles that they ended up liking that were more normal size and that we would be able to find a pattern that would work well. This ended up taking time out of their day and time out of our day to now get held up on this project and wait until they buy new tiles, which wasn't really a huge deal. You know, something like that can happen, and us as contractors, we definitely do take that into consideration. However, that is something that you guys have to think about. Definitely make sure to consult with your contractor and ask them about their opinion about the tile to see if it's going to match the wall, to see if they're going to be able to find a good pattern, because it's just good to have opinions all around. Now, the next mistake to avoid is not choosing the right tile finish. And what I mean by that is choosing a glossy finish of tile, just like this one right here, for the floor of your bathroom. As you can see, it's glossy, so if any water spills on it, it's going to be very slippery and it could potentially be dangerous. So in that case, the best kind of tile to go with for the floor of the bathroom would be a matte finish, so that you don't have any slippery surface if the water actually ends up spilling. Now, the next mistake to avoid is choosing the tile that is not going to really match the rest of the bathroom, or the rest of the tiles. So for example, brown tiles with gray tiles, this is just not going to be a really good combination, because gray is more of a modern color and brown is definitely more of an outdated color, especially if you're going with a darker brown. This is just not going to match, and it's going to look very busy and outdated, which is something that you definitely want to avoid, especially if you're remodeling your bathroom in 2025. Next mistake to avoid, which can actually cause a lot of trouble, is not purchasing the right amount of tiles or waiting until the last minute to purchase tiles. This is actually something that can cause a lot of problems. We've actually dealt with this before. Now, usually not buying enough tile isn't really going to be a huge problem, especially if they have it in stock. However, if you are buying the tile that's on clearance and you don't buy enough, that's going to be a problem, especially if it's all bought out. And waiting until the last minute to purchase tile is also going to be something that may cause trouble, because if you are looking to buy tiles that are, for example, on clearance, and you think you can actually wait to get this tile from this location because it does look like they have a lot of tiles in stock, then the contractor starts the project and you go to the store to pick up those tiles, and you end up seeing that those tiles are simply not there anymore because someone bought them all out. That's going to cause a huge issue. We actually did have a situation like this recently, which didn't end up to be a huge issue. However, the client was asking us for our opinion on the tile, and he was, comparing a few different tiles, and we decided to go with this specific tile. They seem to have a lot of tile in stock in that location. The client didn't end up purchasing them while they were in stock. And when he actually went to the store 2 weeks later to try to buy the tiles, he saw that the tiles were simply not there. Someone else bought them all completely because they were on clearance. We had to drive about 40 minutes away to a different location to get the tiles, which luckily, in this case, it was just the drive that was the issue, and the client was still able to get the same tiles for the same price. But that is just something to keep in mind to avoid any complications. Choosing the wrong color grout is also a mistake to avoid. At the end of the day, you are only remodeling that bathroom once, so you only have one try to pick something out that is going to be nice and to match everything well. So definitely make sure when you are choosing grout, it's something that you 100% like and you won't regret in the future, because after you install grout, it's just not going to be possible to take it out. Maybe if it's fresh, you can, scrub it out a little bit and apply the new one. However, it's just never going to be the same, and it adds a lot of work for the contractor. For example, I wouldn't do a darker grout like black or dark gray grout on a white tile, because it's just not going to be nice. you will see all those cuts, all those lines. It's just not going to be really good. Something that I would recommend for this one would be a light gray or white. I know that it's going to be much harder to keep it clean, especially if you have yellow water. However, this design is going to look much nicer and much cleaner, and you will overall like your bathroom much more. Number 6 on the list is marble tiles, and this is of course not a surprise. Marble tile is a natural stone and it absorbs absolutely everything. So whether it's water, whether it's any kind of, soap or anything like that, it will absorb it, and you will actually see the color change of the tile once the tile is wet. And the contractor will actually have to choose a mortar color that is going to match the tile. So if you, for example, have white tiles, you will need to have the contractor install white mortar on the back of it so that when the water does go on it and the color changes, you will not see, for example, a darker gray or maybe a gray mortar on the other side, because then just won't look nice. As you can see here, this is a marble tile. And you can see maybe some scratches on here, some imperfections, maybe, chips on the edges, things like that. Like I said, it's a natural stone, so you are going to have that on here. It's a very crumbly stone as well, so it's very easy to chip it. And I don't know if you guys are able to see it on the camera, but you can actually see through this tile. So any kind of light, you will actually be able to see through here. And that is what I'm talking about, the mortar color. It needs to be the same as the tile. For this one right here, you would do white mortar. Just in general, marble tile is not really good for the longevity, and you don't want to be putting that really onto your shower because it's just going to get wet. It's just going to get ruined. Yes, you can put a sealer on it, but it's only going to last for maybe 1 or 2 years. And let's be honest, once you start using your shower for a couple years, you're definitely not going to want to put that sealer again because you will just simply forget or just not care in the future as you have already used that shower. So if you are planning to install marble tiles in your bathroom, I would definitely stick away from installing them in your shower. If you want, you can do maybe around your bathroom walls. We have done a couple projects like that where water didn't actually come into contact with the actual tile, because that's when the tile can actually get ruined very quickly. Now, the last mistake to avoid, which is by far the most important one, is choosing a cheap tile or tile that is on clearance. And you may be thinking to yourself, why wouldn't you want to spend less for tiles? Why wouldn't you want to buy tiles that are on clearance? Because with anything, usually you can get good deals on things that are on clearance. However, something that you really have to think about is, why did that tile go on clearance? Was it because there was a defect? Was it because the tile wasn't really that nice? Or maybe because the store is changing their inventory from something old to something a little bit newer? If that is the case, then yes, you can get a really nice deal with really good quality tiles on clearance. However, definitely make sure to check the quality of those tiles and consult with your contractor to see that those tiles are still going to be good, even though they are on clearance. In our most recent master bathroom remodeling project, we actually did have the client choose a really nice tile that was just less than $3 per square foot. And it was a beautiful, luxurious, large format tile. It looks very expensive and very high end. And like I said, the client paid much less than $3 per square foot because they were actually on clearance. Now, a really good way to check the quality of your tiles is to grab your tile and do it like this and see if it has a bend in them. Sometimes you can actually see a huge bend in the tiles when you do it this way. If you do end up seeing a huge bend, that is definitely a tile that I would stick away from, because that is going to have a lot of lippage. And in most cases with those kind of tiles, on the box, the manufacturer will actually have it listed to not install them half by half, to do it 33 by 67. To avoid any kind of lippage. However, most of the time, even with those kind of tiles, if they have a really big bend, you aren't going to be able to avoid that lippage. You still will be able to see it, even if you do 33 by 67. That is just something that you have to take into consideration. If you want cheap tiles and you don't really care about the quality, just make sure you know that the contractor is going to do his best job, but he's not going to be able to install them perfectly to where there's no lippage at all. But this tile that I just showed you, we actually used for a recent project. It was a really high quality tile for only $1.79 per square foot. So this is definitely one that I recommend. And if you actually look on this one, there is no bend at all, no lippage at all. So we were able to do a half by half on this one, but I would certainly avoid choosing tiles that are under $1 per square foot, because usually those ones are just completely garbage and they don't really look that good anyway. Sometimes it's just better to buy tiles that are $1 or $2 more per square foot, especially if you don't have a large space. Spending a few $100s more is going to end up being much better you're going to love your decision and you will have a bathroom that is going to last for a really long time and you will be really pleased with the results. But that is going to be it for this video. I really hope you guys did enjoy this video and found it informative and helpful. Those were the top 7 mistakes to avoid when choosing tile for your new bathroom. Like I said, there's so many mistakes that can be done and they're very simple to make. So I hope you can use this guide to help you choose tiles for your new bathroom. But other than that, I will see you guys in the next video.